I'm I'm trying to think of the right word to use. I mean, sensational is not a good word because sensational has a kind of a positive component to it. But, I guess, in terms of sensationalism, just, from that context, this was probably, easily the top five incidents that we've had, in this county since, I've been district attorney the past 7 years. Obviously, the Tops shooting is clearly number one. But when you go down after that, this incident, make a strong argument, it's number two in terms of what happened, and more importantly, in terms of what could have happened, which thank God did not happen. Obviously, we had a situation here back in May of 2020. Some 3.5 years ago, where, an individual got into some kind of a verbal altercation with the victim of the homicide, in the area where they live there in the city of Tonawanda. This poor victim was playing Pokemon Go, which back at the time in 2020 was kind of a big thing, and it was a game that people went outside and they went to different geographic locations and they played Pokemon. I mean, I don't really understand it per se, but I mean, I kind of conceptually know what it was by having a bunch of kids myself, and so all this kid's doing is playing playing Pokemon Go, and the next thing you know, he gets into a conversation with this Gerwitz guy, and Gerwitz ends up going back into his house and comes back out, gets into his car, and drives by him and shoots him out the driver's side window and kills him. Then Gerwitz takes off in his car. He comes back 2 hours later. But by the time he comes back, the city of Tonawanda has done a great job now of, enclosing the crime scene and starting to do their work. He tells one of the officers that, he lives in his apartment and is just trying to, go back to his home, and at this point, they're worried about the crime scene. He gets back into his home, and, now at this point, after the city of Tonawanda did a great job of securing the crime scene, they're now going to canvass the neighborhood. And they know the guy went back into his house, so they go and they're going to talk to him. And the next thing you know, he pulls out an assault weapon, which was a ghost gun that he made himself, and starts shooting at the city of Tonawanda police officers. Hits one of them. Then he gets into his car, somehow gets down the stairs, runs, gets into his car, takes off, and now we're in a high-speed chase going through the city of Tonawanda, where, again, these guys in the city of Tonawanda, did a great job by minimizing the potential damage of a high-speed pursuit by being able to, expertly drive and bump him off the road with the car and get him secured and get him arrested. So, there are, that this kind of action, it happens in the movies. You don't see that every day here. You don't see that every day anywhere in this country. So, I don't think I'm being too over dramatic here by saying that, this could be number two as far as crazy crime scenes and crazy incidents that we've had, in the past 10 years in this town. And so, I want to commend not only the City of Tonawanda Police Department, but I want everyone to know, and I'll introduce Sheriff Garcia here and allow him to speak to this as well. But I want everyone to know that a lot of these suburban communities, don't have the resources, obviously, that the Buffalo Police Department has. And you're talking about a huge crime scene here. You're talking about, the corner of Morgan and Clinton Street and that expanded area outside. You're talking about the apartment and the stairwell and the area immediately outside the apartment on Morgan Street. And then thirdly, you're talking about the accident scene where they were able to expertly get him off the road. So you have 3 separate crime scenes here. Again, very unusual. It happened once in in my 10 years or my 7 years here. And so when you have that kind of a complex crime scene, you need help. Some of these suburban agencies need help. And the city of Tonawanda did the right thing and called in the sheriff's department. And the sheriff's department came and assisted them with whatever they needed. Obviously, the city of Tonawanda was the lead agency. The city of Tonawanda did a fantastic job, not only with the crime scene, but with the investigation as well. And the city of Tonawanda Police Department and the sheriff's department, in my opinion, along with my great buddy here, Nick Busey, my prosecutor, the 3 of them, the city of Tonawanda, Nick Busey, and John Gherkin, and the sheriff here, the 3 of them, those 3 entities right there, are responsible for getting this guy 65 years of life today. Never getting out of jail, hopefully. He's 31, so he'll be, with good time, let's say 60 plus years old. He'll be 90 years old with eligible for parole. God bless him, he lives to 90, but he ain't getting out of jail. He ain't getting out of jail, and so he'll be in jail for the rest of his life. And again, the guilty verdict that we got in this case, and the sentence that we got in this case, brings obviously justice to the victim's family. They're never going to be able to replace their son. Their son is not. The son hasn't been there for the past 3 Christmases, and the son won't be there for Christmas and the holidays again this year. And that is a void in that family's life that will never be filled. But I recognize each and every day in these homicide cases that I cannot give anyone full closure. That's never going to happen. And for any DA or for any law enforcement official to say, we're going to give you, the family, closure is just being naive. We're never going to be able to give the family full closure. What we can give them, though, is legal closure. The legal aspect is done. This perpetrator, this criminal, this murderer is behind bars for the rest of his life, and the family now can put that aside. And for the city of Tonawanda, this was a traumatic incident. Police officers don't get shot at every day. Every day that they leave the home, they know it's possible. Every day they leave the house, they know they may not be coming back. Thank God, all 4 of the city of Tonawanda police officers who got shot at and 1 who got injured, along the 5th one who got injured in the car accident, all 5 of those officers and the other officers who supported and were at the scene, thank God, all of them got home on May 20th of 2020. Sheriff?
Thank you, Mr. DA, and thank you again for the outstanding work that you and your office does for the public every day. I want to commend the City of Tonawanda Police Department under the leadership of now retired Chief Foles. They're investigating a crime where a member of the public got shot and killed, and then suddenly, as life happens quickly, they are now part of a crime scene because they themselves were shot at by this individual. And we're very fortunate that we only lost 1 person that day, and that the officers that were shot are doing well, and hopefully they're doing well mentally, and their families are doing well moving into the future. When we get a call from any other law enforcement agency, we respond, you know, and, you know, we did so as District Attorney, the Honorable John Flynn was speaking of the incident at Tops. We responded at Tops. We responded to the Rainbow Bridge. We're here for mutual aid. So all of a sudden we have this vast crime scene, and that just does not include the member of the public that was murdered, but also the attempted murder upon our brothers in law enforcement. And, you know, our detectives showed up and we said, whatever you need. There's a lot of work to be done. There's statements to be taken. There's a huge amount of evidence to be collected. And then, of course, the search warrants that led to the seizure of 5 ghost guns and some more evidence. And then the great presentation, obviously, they came to the conclusion today in court. And that's why we are very fortunate to have John Flynn and the DA's office as our partners. But we can't do it alone. That's why we do it together. And whatever resources we have, there's no boundaries. We don't stop at the city line of North Tonawanda. We went there and we helped out and we said, whatever you need, this is what we have. So again, we can't do it alone. We do it as a team. I'm so proud of not only our staff, the members of the Erie County Sheriff's Office, but the City of North Tonawanda Police Department, led by retired Chief Foles. God bless you. I hope you're enjoying retirement, sir. Well deserved. And again, the District Attorney's Office. Wonderful partnership. It's my honor to introduce City of Tonawanda, City of Tonawanda, sorry about that. City of Tonawanda, Captain Kevin Elmer.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. I prepared a short statement that I'd like to read. On May 26, 2020, the life of Joseph A. Marasco was selfishly taken, and 6 of our police officers faced a night that they will never forget. It has been a long-awaited, emotional 3.5 years for the Marasco family and our officers, but justice has prevailed. Today is bittersweet. We pray this verdict and this sentencing will provide a sense of closure to not only the friends and family of Joseph, but to our officers involved and their families. We pray this day will allow for continued healing and the ability to move forward, knowing the person responsible will be incarcerated for a very long time. We would like to thank the Erie County District Attorney's Office, Judge DeTullio, members of the jury for prosecuting and serving justice for Joseph, our officers, and their families. We'd also like to thank the Tonawanda Fire Department, Twin City Ambulance, the Erie County Sheriff's Office, and all surrounding police agencies for their assistance and swift response to an incident that was nothing short of tragic. May God bless you all.
Outstanding statement. Outstanding statement. Questions?
The whole issue of ghost guns was brought up today, and the judge really hammered in on that. Talk about how that really played a role in this.
Yeah, every weapon that was was a pistol a ghost gun that he used to outshot a car? Yes. Every weapon that was recovered was a ghost gun. He had materials in his home to make ghost guns. He admitted basically that he made the assault weapon, the assault rifle. You know, he had numerous parts and pieces. He had a little box that he kept all the parts and pieces in to make these ghost guns. And obviously, Claudine, you know, this is a problem for our community. These ghost guns, you know, there's no registration of these. There's no tracking of these. The components that you can get to make these are easily online. You can buy these 3D printer machines, and you can plug in, you know, the mechanics and the mathematics to print out now these ghost guns, and you know this is a problem. And so, you know, on this day back in May of 2020, every single weapon was a ghost gun that he made, and obviously it was a beginning back in 2020 of an escalating problem that's still continuing to this day.
He also told the police during the investigation that he liked guns. I mean, how, with the trauma that the officers have had, you know, can you put this a little bit more in context for the community on just what they've gone through? And
Cam, come up here, buddy.
I'm
Yep,
sorry.
yep, 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 yep.
Thank you.
So the night of this incident, I actually was off duty, and I was not involved in the investigation. I would not want to provide you with any incorrect details. However, what I can tell you is that it shook the foundation of our police department. It shook the foundation of our community. I've lived in the city of Tonawanda the majority of my life. I've worked there for close to 20 years now. This incident has never happened in our city. And it had a ripple effect. And I know that it has affected our officers. And I just pray and hope for everyone that was involved that we can now move forward from this. Because ultimately this is something that will remain in the minds of everyone for the rest of their lives. Thank you.
Anything else? We're good? Okay, thanks, guys.